Hey guys, thanks for checking out my video. If you like what you see and hear, please give a thumbs up and please be sure to subscribe for more content about the Australian Open and everything going on in the ATP and the WTA. Okay, so we had a very interesting day 5 of the Australian Open. Um, there were some crazy upsets. Up until this point, everything was kind of going according to plan. All top 10 women's seeds were still around. And then kind of the rug got pulled out from under. So let's quickly look at the results, and then I'm going to get into my predictions for day 6. It's funny, I'm here on the East Coast in New York, and I was saying to a friend, one of the really cool things about the Australian Open is that you can be watching late at night, go to bed, wake up 7 or 8 hours later, and there's still tennis going on. And that's exactly what was happening. What happened to me, I tuned in this morning, and it was the end of the Federer match. Federer had a nail-biter of a 5-setter that went to a match tiebreak, and he pulled it out. But I got to say, it was not looking good. Sometimes Federer gets in that mode where he looks really dejected, and he's just off, and he's kind of like a shell of himself. And it really did look like he was going to lose. So he definitely pulled the rabbit out of the hat, and that's pretty awesome for us Federer fans. Coco Gauff, the 15-year-old phenom, she made easy work of Naomi Osaka. I mean, I think some people thought it might be a really close match and that maybe Coco could pull it out, but 3 and 4, that's pretty decisive. So, for anyone who doubted Coco or thought she was a flash in the pan or just some young upstart who was having one great tournament like a Melanie Oudin, I think she's silenced those doubters. Ash Barty, she cruised through, and then there's the really big story. Wang Chong of China, who was destroyed by Serena last year in the quarterfinals of the U.S. Open, she beat Serena. She looked like a completely different player. And this is actually shocking because Serena has not gone out this early from a major in like a dozen years. Thumbs up to Wang, but, it's troubling for Serena. Everyone was expecting there would be a 4th-round match of Serena and Caroline Wozniacki, her close friend. But Wozniacki, unfortunately, was her last professional match, and she lost to relatively obscure Ons Jabeur of Tunisia, although she's a great, crafty player. So it's always great to see, players we don't expect much from, exceed our expectations. Another real shocker, Tsitsipas, who a lot of people were saying, could be the first guy, other than the big three, to win a major, to win his first. But he's out in the 3rd round. He lost to Raonic, who I don't think anyone saw that coming. So exciting and kind of surprising stuff. But let's get into what we're going to see tonight. If we go to the match schedule, we have Pliskova, who's your 2nd seed, over Pavlyuchenkova. I mean, Pavlyuchenkova is a solid player, but I don't see Pliskova having any troubles. Halep Putintseva, that's an interesting one. Putintseva is a very tricky player. She's known for being very fiery on the court and actually, I think, a little bit of a brat. She throws her racket a lot. She always seems to get into stuff with other players. You could say she's kind of a bad sport. But she made easy work of Shea Su Wei, of Danielle Collins. And she's just really tricky with like slices and drop shots. So I think Halep will weather that storm of Putintseva, but Putintseva could definitely give her a little trouble. Nadal, Carreño Busta, I don't know their record, but I think this will be no problem for Nadal. I actually think it's really interesting that so far he's only faced Spaniards and South Americans. And I almost feel like there's a little bit more of an intimidation factor when, the player who you probably idolized growing up because he's from your country or, speaks your language or, you've seen him on the tour and the same tournaments when you're playing him. So I do not see that being any trouble for Nadal. Muguruza has been looking pretty good. I mean, let's not forget she's won 2 majors. She's been wobbling a little lately, but I think this was going to be a close match, although I do envision Svitolina pulling it out. Papirin, he's had a good run so far. He's a young player, but I think Medvedev will just he's going to win. Let's put it that way. I don't think he'll have a whole lot of trouble. Georgie is also tricky. She hits with a lot of power, but Kerber is just way too steady for her. Although, I gotta say, Kerber does have a little bit of an Achilles heel when it comes to power players. She was destroyed by Danielle Collins last year, I think, here at the Australian Open. But still, I see Kerber pulling it out. It might be close, but she'll get the win. I see Bencic advancing over Kontaveit. Taylor Fritz has been playing really well, although I have to give it to Team, the higher ranked player. Zverev, this kind of makes me laugh. You may have heard that a lot of players have been pledging money, part of their prize winnings to help the fight against the bushfires in Australia. Zverev's pledge was he would give $10,000 for every round that he won, and that if he won the whole thing, he would donate all his prize money, which is like $3.5 million, to the bushfire relief. Now, I feel like he said that with kind of a wink because nobody has picked Zverev to win, not even close. He's a good player, but he always seems to do poorly in majors. I don't think he's gotten past a quarterfinal, which is just surprising for someone who's ranked 7, has been as high, I think, as 4. So I think this is going to be a tricky one for Zverev, and I'm actually going to call it. I think he's going to go down here in the third round, and Verdasco will advance. Zarina Diaz of Kazakhstan, she's been having a nice little tournament run. I think she beat Anisimova, which was a little bit of a surprise, but I think Kiki Bertens is just going to be way too strong for her. Kyrgios Khachanov, that'll be a really good one. Two powerful players. And if Kyrgios and Nadal win this round, they will face each other again in the fourth round. When I say again, they've had some sort of epic matches in previous tournaments like Wimbledon. I'm going to give this one to Kyrgios. Maybe because I just want to see a Nadal rematch, but that's where I'm going. I'm picking Monfils over Gulbis, Mertens over Bellis, and the rest is doubles. Guys, thank you again. Again, if you like what you saw and heard, please subscribe and give a thumbs up. Until tomorrow, take care.